Y'all pretty well know me, Aspect 1 in AGF forum. What we're doing today, we're going to clean up our old gold wing here. We're going to wash it down, towel it off, and just get the road grime and dirt and everything off of it. And my wing is an 84 model, it's a little older model. A lot of the parts on the bike are weathered and looking old, like the dash and the plastic covers. As you can see, that's looking pretty gray and weathered. So I was talking to our forum sponsor, Don, with Value-Teck, and I'd asked him about a product that might restore this and bring this back to life a little bit, and other parts of the bike that are aged and looking weathered. And he recommended that we try Doc Bailey's Leather Black. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking leather black. Well, that's for leather. Well, and that's true. It is formulated for leather, all types of leather. But it also says on the plastic, it'll work on plastic, vinyl, rubber, and it has a waterproofing agent and a dye agent in it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to, and I want to thank Don for sending me this complimentary sample to try out. What we're going to do today is we're going to clean the bike up, wash all the road grime off, dry it off, and then we're going to try out the Doc Bailey's on the plastic, and I'm going to give you some before and after shots of the items that we're going to use the Doc Bailey's on. Well, as you can see, we've got the bike. We give it a good lick and a promise. We've gone over it with some Dawn dishwashing liquid mixed with simple green, 2 parts to 3, and a bucket. And so we've got the major road film off of it. It's not spotless by any standard, but the highlights are hit on it. And so what we want to do now, we could just let it air dry, but that's going to leave water spots on everything. So I've got a clean, soft terry cloth. I'm just going to towel it down real good and make sure that the parts that we're going to try Doc Bailey's on is good. It says, Doc Bailey says it has to be dry and clean. So I guess meanwhile, back to work for me. Okay, so you guys are probably like me. You don't like following instructions. Very few read the directions on the package. In all fairness to Don, because he sent this to me free of charge, I did read the instructions. The instructions are pretty plain, pretty simple. Apply a small amount of Doc Bailey's Leather Black to a clean, dry sponge and wipe evenly over the surface to be treated. It dries in seconds, but wait an hour to buff or remove any excess, and to seal waxes, repeat as necessary. So we have our parts here that have been washed and dried and cleaned, and as you can see, they're looking pretty weathered. Now this is the hard plastic cover off the right hand side of my fairing, and this is the tonneau cover from the other side, and as you can see, it's pretty aged. So we're really putting Value-Teck to the test today. If Value-Teck can breathe some new life into these with the Doc Bailey's Leather Black, then it's an ideal product. We're going to give it a shot and see how it goes. Now some of you probably have sponges laying all over your house. I didn't. In fairness to Don, I went and scrounged one up. But let's open up our kit. This is exactly the way that it'll come to you. Oh, well, look here. I looked all over for a sponge, and there one was, included in the kit. There's a polished cloth in there. How about that? Okay. And then here's our Doc Bailey's Leather Black. It doesn't say to shake it up, but with most products of this nature, you want to shake them up, and so I'm going to. All right. We've got her shook up pretty good. It says apply a small amount to the sponge. And what I'm going to do like the top half here of each part, and see how that takes. And then that way we can, I guess it's got a seal on the inside. Let's take the cap off and pull the seal. And then that way we can get a pretty fair, we can get a pretty honest assessment of how that's going to work. Okay, the first tip I'm going to have for you is when you pop the seal, use a knife or something to do that. This stuff is black, as you can see. And if it gets under your fingernails, you're going to look like a mechanic, which is not a bad thing. I'm not knocking you mechanics out there. I'm just saying. So, we're going to apply a small amount of the leather black. That may be a little too much, but it's my first time using it too, folks. So, alright. Let's put that on there. We're going to work that in. We want to work it in. We want to work it in down into the grooves there. And since it says it only takes a few seconds to dry, we probably want to work it pretty quick. Go around the edges and the top. There we go. Alright, and as you can see, I'm not just going crazy with it. I've just kind of hit it. We're going to set that there so it doesn't get black on my Jeep. Now we're going to do the tonneau cover. I'm going to do the top half of the tonneau cover here. See how it does on that. There's still plenty on the sponge, so I'm going to say it probably, a little bit of it will probably go a long way. And look at that, the leather's looking better already. Look at that, that leather almost looks new. Okay, so we're going to set those aside for the moment and let that soak. And while it's doing its thing, I'm going to work on a few pieces on the bike. So here we're going to apply a small amount of this. And obviously you want to be careful and not, if you have colored upholstery like I do, you want to be careful you get some on your hands or whatever. You don't want to get, I don't think you want to get any of this on your colored upholstery. So I'm going to set this, the Doc Bailey's, I'm going to set it down here, a small amount on my sponge. I'm going to do my radio cover here, which is just solid plastic. I'm going to put a coat on the top half of that. I want to be careful not get any on your painted surfaces. I don't know how it'll react to that. Don could better tell you than me. But we're going to do that whole side right there. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do the whole thing. Not worried obviously about the key slot. And let's do a piece of the fairing pocket over here so you can get an idea of what it'll do on that. And I must say, so far it's looking pretty good. As I said, if you get any on your painted surfaces, probably a good idea to wipe it off post-haste. Let's do a little area down here too while we're at it. I can tell you I can see a difference already. Wow. Look at that. I'll get you a close-up of that here in a minute, folks, so you can see it a little better. I'm going to hit a shot of it right here on top of my switch housing. Just work it down into the pigment there. And a little onto the side so you can get an idea. So far that's looking pretty good, folks. Alright. Let's try a little shot of it. We've got some scratches on our mirrors. See if we can cover up a few of those. And try a little shot of it on the mirrors here. Now obviously if you get a little bit on your chrome polish is going to take that off, so I wouldn't be too concerned with that personally. And one last test area I want to try here before we go crazy and put this on the whole bike, which I think I'm going to. I'm very pleased with the results I'm getting so far. I'm going to put just a smidge of it on half of the dash on the top where the sun hits all the time up here. And a lot of you guys have dash mats there to cover that. I don't. So I'm going to do half of the dash up here on the top. The Doc Bailey's. Let's see. As a matter of fact, I'll just do this side over here too. Top of the speaker grill to the left there. Okay, it's been about 40 minutes. The instructions say to wait for an hour and a half. I'm a little anxious and I'm losing daylight. So I know a lot of people cut corners. In all fairness to Don, I'm sorry, but I am going to cut little corners here. I want you to see what we've got so far. You can see that the Bailey's is dried now. It's dry to the touch. It doesn't, leave much residue on your finger, and you can see the swirls there. So I'm gonna take the cloth that came with it, and I'm just gonna do a nice gentle buff out here and see where we're at with this product. And you got to remember now, you can't expect a miracle from a product when you're working on a bike that's as old as an '84 Goldwing. But here we've wiped off the excess. There we go. Turn that around and wipe it down again. And look at the difference. Look at the difference. Can you see that? That's quite a bit of difference. And that's just with one application. Repeated applications obviously are going to build up the wax sealer that comes with the Doc Baileys, and it can't do anything but make it look better. But look at that. It took a good 20 years worth of wear off of that product, off of that cover right there. So let's look at our leather tonneau cover now. You can see on the bottom it's still pretty worn looking, pretty aged. On the top we've got the Baileys. So we're gonna buff that out. Let me get us a clean spot here. We're gonna stroke that out. Now this is the only piece of leather that I've tried this on, because the leather on my bike is brown, and I didn't want to get crazy on brown leather with leather black. But look at that. The leather looks brand new. The top half from here up, I don't know how well you can see that. I'll take some additional pictures. But that leather looks almost new. Obviously, because it does have a pigment in it, like underneath your leather straps, underneath your buttons, you want to make sure you get under there good. Otherwise, you'll be out riding your bike and you'll reach up to pull or something, and you get your fingers in there and you'll get black on your fingers or your clothes. So you want to make sure that you wipe this stuff down thoroughly and buff it properly. But I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with it. It does a much better job than Armor All, Armor Black, or any of that stuff. You can see that leather looks like brand new on the top there where I did that. I got some on the paint right there, and it just wiped right off. It didn't stick to the paint, so you can take comfort in that. If you get a little on your paint, it looks like it's pretty well paint-proof or paint-friendly, I guess you'd say. And boy, it looks good. It looks good. If you'll notice, on the top of my gauge housing, it took that from a dingy whitish gray back to black again. So I'm going to get some pictures, some close-up pictures of that, and we'll insert those in the video for you. All in all, the Bailey's seems to be a fantastic product. This is just a small test run with it to see how it goes. I don't have a lot of black leather on my bike, but on the leather that I did have, it made the leather look new. On the plastic that I had, it brought life back to it, made it look black and shiny again, gave it a sheen, took all the dull off of it. And when you step back from the bike quite a bit, you can see where you've done it and where you haven't done it, because the difference is gray and black. So I'm going to give the Doc Baileys a 2 thumbs up. It's a good product. I'd recommend that you wear some latex gloves while applying it. Can get a little messy if you're a slob like me, but we'll get some close-ups for you. And I want to thank Don from Value-Teck for providing us with the Doc Baileys Leather Black for Aspect 1 and 2. Thank you, forum members. Have a good day.